What's up YouTube and welcome to a new video. Now 1 year ago I published a depreciation analysis for the Acura NSX, and in that video I showed you that it has a very flat depreciation curve, especially when it is compared to some of its rivals like the R8 V10, McLaren 570S and AMG GTR. Moreover, I think that the market was quite in a good spot back then. Also, there is probably a group of people among you, the viewers, who really like the NSX. I received a lot of positive comments. Now compared to 1 year ago, the car market changed drastically. And in today's video I will show you if this also goes for the NSX market. A market which is perhaps a niche market within a niche market. But before we have a look at the price changes, let's first investigate today's market so we know what's what. Each dot represents a car for sale and the black axes show the median price point for each model year. And speaking about those prices, if you are in the market for one of the 60 NSXs, then it is likely that you end up paying around $143,000 as this is the median price point. And for this price you are most likely to get a car with 6,600 miles. So the median mileage is quite low. Now besides that, you can also see that the price fluctuates a lot. The cheapest NSX goes for $116,000, while the most expensive one sets you back $210,000. And this car over here is basically a brand new car which has all the options on it. It is however priced slightly above MSRP, something which is quite remarkable in this market. Now the NSX market is a relatively simple market. There is one version which you can spec the way you like it, but that's about it. So that is good news for this analysis. We don't need to consider any further market breakdowns. We can immediately have a look at the price change. Over here you can see now that we have the date on the horizontal axis and the price tail on the vertical axis. And you can see that between July 2020 and June 2021, the median price decreased with 5% or around $7,000. But that's a bit strange, right? Every other car on the market is going up, so why on earth would the NSXs be going down? It doesn't make any sense. Now I looked a bit deeper into this and I found that there's a certain market segment which is responsible for the price decrease. The new cars. That market segment shrunk a lot and also the median price decreased. Yet, the price decrease is most likely a result of a change in market composition. It's not an actual decrease. The price decrease at an aggregate level is then also not statistically confirmed. Now after that, I bet you want to know what is happening in the used NSX market. At least, I was quite curious. Let's have a look. Over here we have the price development for the used cars, and this reveals that prices actually went up with 8% or $10,500. And this increase is statistically confirmed, which means that it is unlikely to be the result of chance. We can also see that the confidence interval and interquartile range decreased slightly, showing that there is less price uncertainty in the market. Now in today's market, an increase of 8% is nothing extraordinary. But if we also consider the underlying market characteristics for the NSX market, then it's not bad at all. Over here we have the market supply, the median mileage development and the median model year development. And this reveals that contrary to many other markets, supply for used cars increased with 80%, from 29 to 52 cars. Now this might seem a bit odd at first, but when I looked into this I found a comment on an NSX forum which stated that it's probably because a lot of leases expired. What do you think? Is this the reason for the increase in market supply, or is there perhaps a different reason? Let me know down in the comment section. Now at the same time, also the median mileage increased with around 3,000 miles, while the median model year remained constant. So against this background of an increase in supply and mileage, a price hike of 8% is not bad. And this becomes especially apparent when we look at this price increase from a mileage perspective, something which also reveals that the mileage sensitivity actually decreased. So let's have a look. Over here we have the mileage on the horizontal axis and the price on the vertical axis, and you can also see that the lines show the depreciation per 1,000 miles. In orange we have today's market and in blue the market 1 year ago. Now first, you can see that the orange line lays above the blue line. Prices went up after all. Additionally, you can see that especially for the high mileage cars the price difference is large. Last year, the cars between 5 and 15,000 miles were priced between $120,000 and $130,000. Now, we can see that they are more likely to cost you $140,000 or even $150,000. And the consequence of this is that the mileage sensitivity for used cars decreased. 1 year ago this was $1,360 or minus 0.9% per 1,000 miles, while now it sits at minus $1,000 or minus 0.79% per 1,000 miles. And this is quite a good score for a car which is still relatively new. What also helped here is that the median mileage increased. Typically, an increase in mileage means a decrease in mileage sensitivity. Now, another noteworthy thing regarding the depreciation of the NSX is the low initial drop for new cars. But before we have a look at that, if you like this video, please remember to smash that like button as it really helps to support the channel. Thank you for that. But now, let's have a look at the low initial drop. Over here we have the model year on the horizontal axis and the price on the vertical axis. And you can see that the new cars are displayed in orange and the used ones in blue. Now what is remarkable about this market is the small drop for the new cars. In today's market, the median price for a new car is $165,000, while the median price for a used car is $141,000, and the used car market largely consists out of 2017 cars. So this means that there is only a gap of $24,000 or 15%, and that's very small. You can then also see that within the used car market, model year is of little importance, as the price doesn't drop significantly for older cars. And this is not something which happened by coincidence. Last year we could see exactly the same pattern. Alright, so all of these numbers which we just saw basically confirm that the NSX market is still in a very strong place. Depreciation from new, value development, and the mileage sensitivity are all very favorable. So despite all of this, why are there so few NSXs around? Well, the competition is very fierce in this segment. Let me show you how it stacks up to its competitors. Over here we have the price development for the 570S, the 911 Turbo excluding the S version, and the Audi R8 V10 in base form, so excluding the Plus version. And for all of these markets I only included the used cars. Now the first thing what we can see is that the McLaren 570S, a car which perhaps resembles the NSX the most, is priced a lot higher. There's a price difference of around $140,000 between the two cars. So if you only look at the prices, I'm not sure if you can call this a competitor. The 911 Turbo and Audi R8 are way closer in terms of price point. In fact, the median price points between them differ less than $1,000. And also in the price development they are quite similar. We already saw that the NSX went up with 8.1%, which is an adequate score. The Turbo increased with 7.3%, and the Audi R8 V10 with 6.4%. So price-wise, the NSX wins this game, but not by a large margin, as the price increases are similar. Underlying though, the market dynamics show quite some differences. For all cars beside the NSX, supply decreased by quite a bit. For the Turbo it even decreased by 50%. And this might be important when you step into a dealership to negotiate prices. It might be easier to get something off the price for an NSX right now than for the other three cars. Yet, I still think that NSX values are quite special. So if we take these three markets, so the NSX, the R8 V10 and the 911 Turbo, and look at them from a model year perspective, then we can see why. You see, I pointed out earlier that the price difference between the model years is very small for the NSX. And this effect is magnified when compared to the R8 and the 911. For those cars, the lines are clearly downward sloping, displaying a large price difference between the model years, even though that they are all used cars. Now a consequence of this is that for model year 2020, the Audi R8 is priced way above the NSX, and the same goes for the 911 in 2018. Yet in 2017, NSX prices are on par with the 911 and above the R8. So that's definitely something to keep in mind if you are in the market for one of these cars. Playing around with the model year within your budget can have a drastic effect on the cars which are available. Also, this means that the effect of age on the value of a car is very low for the NSX. For the 911 Turbo and R8 this is much higher, and then especially for the younger cars. Now there's also one metric for which these cars don't differ so much, the mileage sensitivity. So let's have a look at that before we conclude. Over here we have the depreciation per 1000 miles curves for the three cars. And you can see that they are almost identical. The Audi R8 and 911 Turbo lose on average $1,800 per 1000 miles driven, Well, this is $1,000 for the NSX. Now relatively, this means that you lose minus 1% for the R8, minus 1.1% for the turbo, and minus 0.8% per 1,000 miles driven for the NSX. One thing you can see though is that for the lower mileage cars, the turbos are priced slightly higher than the other two. But the difference is not that large. So let's wrap up and conclude. Purely from a financial standpoint, the NSX is quite attractive. Prices moved in line with the big boys, depreciation appears to be low, and the prices itself are quite good if you consider the tech and the performance which is in the car. Moreover, you might be able to get a higher price discount than for the other cars. I doubt you will get anything off them right now. Yet, notwithstanding all of this, the car seems to appeal to only a very small group of people. A frequently heard complaint is then also the lack of interior quality when compared to its peers. Also, $130,000 is still quite a lot to spend on an Acura. At that price point, many buyers prefer to step into an Audi or a Porsche showroom. But this might not be a bad thing. Many car groups only have a very select group of followers. Look for example at Lotus. And with that we arrive at the end of this video. Now if you like this data-driven way of analyzing cars, but would have liked to see it for a different car, let me know down in the comment section for which car you would like to see an analysis. Once there are enough requests for a certain car, I will make a video about it. Also don't forget then to subscribe and click on the notification bell so you get actually notified when your requested analysis goes live. As always, thank you for watching and I hope to see you next week for a new video.